everyone, welcome back to the channel for my review of episode 20, The Message. This episode starts out with Cole putting on a puppet show for the kids. Seriously, some award-winning art right here. Basically explaining how they end up in the Neverrealm, and this scares all the kids, and there's a nice fourth wall break. Then we have Lloyd and the wolf. Lloyd decides to name the latter Red, and basically begins to tell Red his life story. Then they come to this little area which is guarded by a bird and get attacked by a bird and are forced to go in this cave where they find the Titan mech, and more importantly they find a recording by Zane. And so they pull out all the stops for this one. They pull out Zane's death music, and pretty much it's supposed to be a super emotional scene as it's Zane's last recording before he probably turned into the Ice Emperor. So there's a nice montage of Lloyd fixing the Titan mech, then he goes out and battles the bird with the Titan mech, and the episode ends off on that victorious note. So the big thing with this episode was that it featured Zane's final message before he turned into the Ice Emperor, probably, and I just want to talk about how amazing of a scene this is. This is just done really well, and especially since this season has had a very hard time and has been struggling to convey emotions, this was just a nice refresher because it was perfect, and not just because it used Zane's death music. In terms of how it was written, the scene, and the monologue itself, it was just done really, really well, and all of those components came together and we got an excellent scene. This was pretty much the first scene that I felt in the season that actually delivered genuine emotion that didn't feel dumbed down or muted like it had all throughout the Fire chapter. This scene is just really impactful on the viewer. It succeeds in being effective, and I want to take a look at why exactly and how exactly it succeeds in that way. So I want to compare this to in episode 79 when they pulled out Zane's death music, and unpopular opinion, but I didn't like that they did that at all. It just felt really forced, and the scene itself never really left a mark on me, and so using Zane's death music just felt like they were trying to pull out some emotion from the viewer there, and it just didn't really work that way for me. And so using Zane's death music for this scene, when Zane died originally, what was impactful about the scene was that he was coming to terms with his death. He accepted it, he did not try to hide from it, he used that moment to remember his happiest memories. And, Zane died in that scene, right? That's pretty big. And for this scene, his fate is definitely on par with that, I think. Zane has turned into the Ice Emperor. He's lost that former personality that he had. He has lost control over himself, really. And even if Zane hadn't turned into the Ice Emperor, basically he's admitting the fact that he might be defeated at this point, and that he might never find a way home. And for those reasons, using Zane's death music in this scene never really felt forced. And all in all, they've done just such an amazing job with this scene. It's one of my favorite scenes of the season. The only thing left to do to basically make the scene even more purposeful and give it a greater effect is to deliver the same level of emotion for the big Ice Emperor reveal. So if they do that, this scene will be even better than it is right now, and this scene is already excellent. Other things that I liked about this episode, I thought the opening scene was actually pretty funny, and I loved Cole basically imitating other characters, and that puppet show all in all was just done pretty well, and it was very funny, I thought. And also you had that nice fourth wall break with, is this too violent for kids or something like that. And then you also had the montage of Lloyd fixing the Titan mech. I thought that was a pretty fun scene to watch. The soundtrack was nice, and it was just a very nice scene for Lloyd too, just giving him more motivation after watching that message. I thought that was pretty nice. And the fight with the bird was okay. We'll talk more about that sadly in the con section though. Maybe I was expecting too much, but I was just hoping for a lot more from the bird. I was hoping that it wouldn't be just for filler, basically, and I was hoping that it would actually play some sort of role in the story, and sadly it just turned out to be one of Ninjago's giant animal filler things again, and I'm pretty disappointed by that. The season has been full of these giant animal things, especially you have the beetle, you have the fire fang, now you have this, and there are more to come this season too. It's not even over yet. So all in all, I feel like the fight with the bird just could have been a little bit more interesting, and we just got another one of these giant animal things again. Even the resolution to this conflict with the bird felt really rushed and just not done that well. All that Lloyd did was basically cut off a rock, and bam, the bird is gone. The bird has been scared away, and I didn't like that. This might seem to go against what I was saying before with the message being awesome and stuff, but I just feel like Zane's death music is one of those soundtracks that should never be reused, like the Final Battle soundtrack. And the thing was, it worked in the scene. It went well with the message, and it certainly was a nice compliment. It wasn't like the episode 79 intro, where it just didn't work at all in my opinion, and so it felt super forced in that scene. And again, don't get me wrong, it went really well with the scene, but I just feel like it's one of those soundtracks that is really special, and I love the soundtrack. It's my favorite soundtrack of the entire TV series, and I wouldn't want it to lose its value or its meaning if they were constantly to reuse it and stuff. And I know they don't constantly reuse it, but I just feel like it's one of those soundtracks that shouldn't be used that much or shouldn't be reused at all. So I don't think that the plot was one of the episode's stronger sides. I mean, I feel like the bird fight just kind of dragged on a bit too long. It just shouldn't have been the episode at all, or it could have been done a bit differently. However, characters were done really well. It was fun to watch Lloyd, and I thought he was done pretty well in this episode. And even though Zane doesn't actually physically appear, he is absolutely the star of this episode. And just the voice acting during the message, there's just so much emotion, and it's just such an incredible scene. All of these various aspects, voice acting, soundtracks, the writing itself, and the animation all coming together to form this awesome scene. And so when we're talking about emotion, it absolutely nails it, and it's just done really well. Action, however, was not one of the episode's stronger sides either, as I feel like the fights with the giant animal things are getting really repetitive and boring at this point. So my final rating for this episode is going to be an 8.5 out of 10. I would have loved to have given it a 10 out of 10 because I do feel that the message was worthy of that, but unfortunately the bird fight does drag it down a few points. But all in all, I feel like this was a pretty strong episode. Thanks for watching. If you guys enjoyed, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and share it with anyone ever you know. Let me know what you guys thought of episode 20, The Message, and I will see you next time.